Hi, I'm Melissa Barbee, and I'm presenting my research proposal to you today concerning successful methods of motivating struggling readers. Prior to today, I was able to present this research proposal to an elementary school principal, an instructional coach, and a second grade teacher. Student motivation is something with which most educators struggle. If students are motivated to learn and to participate in learning activities, almost anything can be accomplished. My focus is on determining the best methods of motivating and remediating struggling elementary age male readers. I chose the male population for my focus because research indicates that boys are most often the least confident readers. Many male students avoid literacy activities. The literacy achievement levels of male students lag significantly behind that of females. According to 2009 National Assessment of Educational Progress, NAEP results, girls scored an average of 7 points higher than boys on the 4th grade reading test, and this trend continues throughout the grade levels tested by NAEP. The reading achievement of male students lags behind that of females regardless of race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status. A lack of motivation to engage in literacy activities results in less time spent reading. This results in less developed reading skills. Students must possess both motivation and the ability to read well in order to engage effectively in literacy activities. Struggles with reading usually stem from poor decoding skills. This, of course, results in impaired comprehension. Therefore, fluency instruction may most effectively remediate both word reading and comprehension problems because comprehension difficulties result primarily from a lack of decoding skills. When students participate in meaning-based shared reading activities, their attitudes toward reading improve. The key to this engagement may be in the types of texts that are used with young readers. Boys are drawn to texts that have graphic appeal, texts that have generous amounts of white space on the page, and texts that have interesting features or fonts. Students are engaged by challenging texts that present critical thinking opportunities. Much of the fluency instruction in classrooms today is done through leveled reader texts that specifically target decoding and word recognition skills within the text. Because of the rhyming nature of poetry, this genre may also be used for phonics instruction. Poems tend to have meaningful text and be rich in vocabulary. Are poems more motivational for struggling readers than leveled reader texts? Are there student achievement level differences with instruction from poetry as opposed to prose text? Poetry is a useful text for literacy instruction. Poetry has been written about many varied topics. Poems may provide a creative bridge between the beauty of a poem and the content-rich information that are written in various other forms. Poems often address topics that are of interest to students, and they provide visual stimulation. The amount of white space on the page and the graphics that accompany poetry make this type of text appealing. Poems also lend themselves to performance opportunities. Performances for classmates and other individuals provide a purpose for rereading that may be motivating for unmotivated readers. This study looks specifically at 3 research questions. How do the strategies of repeated poetry reading and leveled reader prose instruction differ in impact on struggling elementary age male students? How does the use of rhyming poetry for reading instruction affect male students' motivation to read? How does the use of leveled prose instruction affect male students' motivation to read? This research proposes a quasi-experimental counterbalance design. This means that intact student groups will rotate through the experimental treatments. Student Group 1 will receive treatment A, which is leveled prose small group instruction, while Student Group 2 receives treatment B, rhyming poetry small group instruction. This will take place for a 4-week interval. At the end of 4 weeks, the student groups will switch treatments. During the second 4-week interval, Student Group 1 will receive treatment B, while Student Group 2 receives treatment A. The sample for this study is homogeneous. All of the students receiving treatment are classified as Tier 3 struggling readers. The population for the study is drawn from 2nd grade and 5th grade Tier 3 students. 4 2nd grade students, 2 male and 2 female, and 3 5th grade students, 2 males and 1 female, will be the study participants. Since the participants are minors, parental permission to conduct the study will have to be obtained. The participants in this study will not be placed in any type of harmful situations. The 2 treatment methods being applied are both instructionally sound practices. The study simply seeks to determine if one method produces greater achievement gains than the other, or if both treatments appear to be equal in the promotion of student achievement. Easy CBM fluency probes will be used to collect nominal data concerning student progress. At the end of each 4-week interval, students will be given 3 1-minute fluency probes to assess fluency progress. I have chosen to use 3 equivalent probes and take the median score of the 3 probes in order to increase the validity of the results. This process will be repeated after the second 4-week treatment interval. I also want to gauge the impact of poetry text versus prose text on students' motivation to read. Therefore, at the end of each 4-week treatment interval, a motivation to read profile will be given to each participant. This Likert 4-point response scale survey will assess students' attitudes toward reading. The mean achievement score for each experimental group will be calculated for treatment 1 and treatment 2. These scores will be compared using a 2-sample t-test. This analysis will be used to determine if one treatment method produces student achievement results that are significantly different from the mean score derived from the other treatment method. The data will also be disaggregated into groupings by grade level and gender. Factorial design will be used to determine the effectiveness of the treatment for the subgroups. I want to factor out the achievement level for each treatment for 2nd grade students, 5th grade students, for male students, and for female students to determine any differences among the subgroups. Limitations for this study occur because the treatments may have carryover effect. Students receiving treatment A first may carry over learning that will affect their achievement with treatment B. This study uses a counterbalance design so that each experimental group begins with a different treatment. This is done in hopes to lessen the effect of carryover learning on the final study results. Delimitations of the study stem from the student sample for this research. The sample for the study is comprised of only 2nd and 5th grade Tier 3 struggling readers. Therefore, further research will have to be conducted to determine if the results are generalizable to a more diverse student population. Thank you very much for your time and listening to my research proposal.